Niko the Gallo.
Yes, sir.
You sexy motherfucker.
Mr. Cam, how are you, bro? What an honor. What an honor, man. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. It's great to have you.
Dude, big fan. I'm not lying when I say that. I've been watching the last few episodes and this is really cool.
Thanks.
I love when you guys talk about like just the art and the craft and just like the maniacs of friends we have for just in this field.
Yeah, sometimes it's like it's hard to. I've that's what a lot of people have said they love it, but then some episodes I've realized I've hardly even talked about comedy. I'm like I'm lost my way a little bit.
No, I think you make it a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah,
like the James Patrick episode and the Harrison. Dude, you got some phenomenal people on here talking some wild stuff.
Yeah,
but that's literally what people want to hear. They want to hear about the comedy, but also like what makes this quote unquote artist tick.
Yeah.
You know?
What like I want to give like you guys a platform so that everyone can get to know you guys, because that's what I've noticed being in the city is the people here are fucking incredible. Like we're surrounded by such amazing people, and I want to like give the platform so that everyone can learn about who you guys are.
Dude, what you're doing is so dope because like in the, when comics, especially in New York, where it's such a crazy city, trying to find stage time or just trying to, I'm going to hit this mic, hit that mic, but I've hit so many mics, I still haven't got put on a show. So you make your own show, you do your own stuff, you do your own mic, or you start producing your own shows. And you just doing this alone is such a huge thing for like just us. Because, I'm an open micer, dude. I've only been doing this a year and a half. So this is dope because I'm just learning so much from the other comics that, and it's funny because like, when you're so new to the game, you don't know exactly what to talk about on stage or like your voice. Mm-hmm. And then the last couple episodes that I've been hearing, I'm just like, dude, I would reach out to those comics and I'll be like, that's a bit, that's another bit. Like when I was telling you about it at the bar the other day, I was like, dude, I
started writing that,
so
dude.
good. I love this is amazing. Like I literally, when I say like, this is so dope what you're doing, it's like big up to you. You're doing something that's really amazing for us.
Thank you.
Us comics. This is huge.
Thank you.
No,
I mean so much.
I don't even mean to like, just to kind of suck you off. It's just more just like, you're really making this feel like this is exactly why I'm doing it. Like,
thank you. And it means a lot because I don't know, I'm not doing this for any praise, but I don't know if people realize that this takes a fucking lot of time. It's costing me, every episode costs me like 100. I'm not going to tell everyone, but it cost me money.
A lot of Bitcoin.
It cost me time, like a lot of time, and like cutting the clips and I love it. I generally do love it, and it's something I want to pursue. But it's nice to hear some good feedback and make those little bits of like I had someone message me today and he said, I've listened to the first 6 episodes. It's really good. And I'm like, all right, that's like a good motivation to keep going, dude, and keep going. So
it's so cool. It's so cool what you're doing because again, that's what people don't see is the actual blood, sweat, and tears that you're doing. And, you're a married man. You're trying to run back and forth, hitting mics and shows and actually have time to actually produce something on yourself and trying to write. But this also helps a different part of the brain that just kind of helps you kind of move things around. And I do think that this is really helping you out because I saw you the first time at the comic strip at a mic months ago. And then I saw you again at the comic strip. And then I saw you at one of the Plan B boys, their mics. And I was like, damn, it's so cool to see just how everyone's shit just starts getting a little tighter and tighter. When you go to the gym and you see that one person that you can tell that they just started doing it, but then like 6 months later, they're just like, oh my God, bro, this dude's shredded now. This chick is like fucking yacked up. And like now they bring their tripods out. Like, so it's really cool to see. And your stuff is getting real fucking cool. I love it. I love that's a bloody cunt.
It's so fun. Thanks, man. It's really cool. Thank you, man. Likewise. It's been awesome to see myself grow, and I think you'll acknowledge this. But it's also amazing to see everyone else around us grow. And because we're in that open mic scene, and we're trying to push into professionalism in this game, but the growth in this part is so drastic. Like when you see someone just start, like James Patrick is a perfect example. When I first saw him on an open mic, I'd been here for like 3 months, and I was like, ooh, this kid might have a bit of trouble because his material was like dark, and like talking about some pretty. Yeah. But now the kid he's a different person. He's an absolute different person, and he's going to be an animal.
What is he, 21?
Yeah.
I think what's actually helped him out was the fact that he lost his job and then was able to do mics for like 3 months straight, just like fucking hammering.
Yeah.
And now he's a doorman, but now he has more material now that he's a fucking doorman.
Yeah.
You're right. It's ridiculous.
It's unreal. It also, I get envy. Do you get envy? Like when I see someone a little, like a bit of me is proud, but a bit of me is like, oh man, I wish I thought of that, or I wish I was. I always like, a team that seems to sometimes open up like a corridor of like insecurity. Sometimes when I see someone really kill, I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna be this good, or I'm never gonna cut. I don't know.
I know what you're saying. I don't feel that when I'm at like mics and stuff like that. Like if I go to watch a show at like The Cellar or like Rodney's, or just like actually watch legit professional comics that have like actual specials and they tour like crazy. When I watch them and I'm just like, if like there's a comic that I love right
Did
now.
I give you a water?
Yeah. Right.
All right, I gave you the sparkling.
Got it.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Eagle Wit?
No.
He's a comic he's a New York-based comic. He's from Brooklyn. I believe he's been doing it now for 10 years, but he got past at The Cellar. He was like the youngest comic to ever get past at The Cellar when he was like 25 or 20.
Wow.
And when
How long had he been going for until he got
I
past?
think he got past at like less than maybe 6 years. I could
Wow,
crazy.
that's incredible.
But like, yeah, whenever I see, or if I have time to see him like perform around the city, that's the one that I'm just like, how am I ever gonna be like that?
Yeah.
Or if I see another comic like Usama Siddiqui, who I fucking love him too, he's phenomenal, another great comic. Same thing, I'm just like, damn. But I enjoy that because I'm so competitive with myself, where it's just like, you just have to keep getting better. Just keep getting. You know, I grew up playing soccer, literally played in college and everything, and you always just want to constantly get better and get better every time. Like you always want to kind of hit goals. But to answer your question, I don't really ever get like jealous or envious of the comics in our space whenever they come up with a phenomenal bidder. For me, it's more just like where I do get like that little weird. I don't know if it's an insecurity, but it's just like a guy like James Patrick, or like a comic like JJ Arias, a little like Colombian kid from Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, these kids are 21.
I know.
I just started doing comedy. I'm 34. I started doing comedy at 32. That's where I get envious.
Yeah.
I'm at these mics and I'm like, how can I get this certain bit into the head of these like 21-year-olds that are vaping mid punchline? And I'm just like, you know, that's where I don't really get envious in terms of like, oh, this person's doing better than me, or this person's doing, because everyone has their own lane.
Yeah.
Right. And I never try to compare myself with, if I look at Instagram and somebody's like posting their shows for the rest, like the whole month, I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's awesome. They're doing their thing. I never do. For me, it's more just like, I just got to keep working. And, you know, down the line, the only thing that I'm really concerned about is just getting the laughs from the people in the audience.
Yeah. I feel more pressure at an open mic than I do at a show. Can you relate to that in any way? And I think that's also where it sort of comes back to, because there's a certain level of discomfort I feel at an open mic. It's like being judged by your peers. At a show, I'd never feel that, because I guess it's also because with the show you're going in with material that you know works. Yeah. But an open mic, a lot of the time you're going in material that is new, or you're trying to flesh out, so it can stink sometimes. But yeah, it's funny. I'm what I am starting to realize though is we are all so different, and that's what makes comedy great. Yeah. Like when I was a little jealous of someone because they'd just come up with a phenomenal bit, you know, it would hurt me because it would bring out my own insecurity, and that was the problem. It would bring out. But now I'm starting to say, I'm me, and I'm telling my story. Yeah, and my story is just as important as anyone else's story, and the way I tell it, and I have to just tell it the way I want to tell it, and how I would tell it.
Why are we trying to make comics laugh? That's the thing. It's like, we're not trying to make the comedians laugh. We're trying to make the people in the audience laugh. Right? Yeah. And I think at open mics too, like, I think the only time I get insecure is when I'm like, fuck, these guys have heard this bit already, like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. And yeah, I'm trying to, it's like, I may not have changed or added a tag, but I'm like doing a certain thing with like the inflection, or like a certain bit of an act out. And it's still like, that's where you do kind of get like that insecurity where it's like, oh God, I feel like these guys are saying the same thing. But then when those comics go up, they do their same fucking act.
Yeah.
It's like, God, this is such a mental game.
Yeah.
But then when you do that same exact, like, let's say you do a 5-minute set at like 4 open mics that same day, and you're just like, okay, I did okay at one of them. And then you have somehow you get put on a show to do a guest spot. That same set that did somewhat at a mic, you just like fucking crush.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the first time the people in the audience have ever seen your shit. That's the weirdest part. It's like trying to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
And I think I got some good advice once from a comic that was saying, like, don't try to make a comic laugh. Like, don't make the back of the room laugh. Like, you focus on the people that paid money to see you. Like, don't worry about the comics in the back. And if you do get a laugh from the comics in the back, but no one's laughing in the front, it's like you're getting the wrong laugh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's a lot of people probably don't understand this who aren't in comedy, but there's a different humor between like a show humor and an open mic humor.
Oh, yeah.
Because open mic humor can often be very dark or it's like the stuff you would tell your friends, but you probably wouldn't say it if their friends' parents were there. You know what I mean? Like,
it's definitely something that you would write on Reddit, but like only would write that on Reddit and not like say it out loud.
Yeah. But because we see so much comedy every day, that sort of stuff shocks us more. Therefore, it's more funny on an open mic.
100%. I agree.
Yeah.
It's so true, dude. We're so new, dude. We're just so fresh. We're little guppies. And we think we're like, oh yeah, I can swim with the fucking big fishes, and then you get fucking just whopped, which is fine. And that's the beauty about comedy, right? It's like every set is completely different. Like I was listening to this podcast a while ago. It was Bobby Lee's podcast, Tiger Belly, and he had Jesus Trejo on there. Jesus Trejo, he's on there, and he was saying, he's like, when you're first starting comedy, your first like year 1 to 3, so the first 3 years, you should not be killing at all. Mm-hmm. You should be bombing because you need to get comfortable bombing. You need to be just there burning in that on that stage. And I think that's a good advice to a certain point, right? But when the jokes start actually hitting, then you get a little cocky, and then somehow when you go to do a set, there's always something that fucking lassos you and grabs you, fucking rips you off stage saying, you're not that funny just yet.
Yeah.
Just keep doing your thing. But dude, I you know what it is? I'm such a weird person because I actually enjoy the weird awkwardness of situations. Like I enjoy that, like, why is it quiet? Right? And like I enjoy if I'm on stage and I'm trying to tell something or say something silly or just bring something up that no one laughs at. I'm like, all right, where did I go wrong? Right? Or knowing that I have them, maybe I can really dig in a little deeper to really kind of come at them with a different type of punch to really hit them hard. But yeah, I know exactly. Do you get nervous if after like 10 seconds, you don't get a laugh?
Yeah. See, what you just explained then, I'm still not comfortable with it. I still don't like it.
Some days I am, some days I'm like,
yeah. But I think that also shows that you've been going at it for longer than I have. And I've certainly seen an improvement in myself from starting till now. I'm much better at taking it. But it fucking still hurts.
It hurts so good though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It hurts so good. It hurts so good. It hurts so good.
Yeah.
It's like no one wants to date like a girl that's like, oh, cool. It's like everyone wants to date a girl that throws a plate at you or two. Like, what the fuck? It's like, with my mom. Oh, your mom. Like everyone you want to have that little bit of excitement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And imagine if you were just crushing every time, how are you going to get better? Imagine, because you like to run around the city, especially like Central Park. Imagine if like you were running your like 10 miles, whatever you do, and the 10 miles just felt like you were running 2 miles.
Yeah, no.
What the fuck are you doing?
It wouldn't be a challenge.
And you're doing it shirtless.
Yeah.
Out of all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You're right. You're 100% right.
It's like you have to continue to kind of keep peeling the layers and just keep challenging yourself to keep getting stronger. Because like, especially like, because I work in like the fitness field, it's like, if you're constantly, let's say you're just doing 10 push-ups every day for like 6 months, you're not getting better at all. The movement, you're going through the motions, but there's no other challenge that you're putting that muscle in. You need to put some stress on the muscle, just like you need to put stress in just with that muscle of just comedy, that your brain, you got to challenge yourself. Like even when you're writing, it's like, this joke is killing, but what if I change the actual setup and see if it kills, even if I change the setup? Just constantly like, just kind of, it's almost like putting on a different accessory on your outfit. Like you have a nice little outfit on. It's like, oh, but my outfit would look better if I wore this watch.
Yeah.
Or if I wore earrings, or if I wore like a fedora. That's where the jokes are. That's what the tags are. It's like, maybe what if I just spiced it up a little bit? But you have to be careful though, because you don't want to look tacky. And if the tags aren't hitting, you're just gonna be the guy that's just known for tags and be called fucking Sir Tags a lot. You don't want to.
No one wants to be called that.
No one wants to be called Sir Tags. Don't be sick. No, dude, but I love it. I love when I'm up there and I'm like, I fucking feel like, oh, this joke's gonna fucking do well. And I go up there and it's just crickets. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, and I'm looking and I'm like, all right. I try not to say like, all right, what's next? I literally take it, bro. Eat it, right? Just like when you're on a fucking bender, you're drinking with the boys, and then the next day you're dying with that hangover. You deal with that shit. No hair, dog. No, just deal with it. That's what gets you stronger, and that's what gets you better. Just the fucking pain, dude. The pain. Enjoy the pain, and then everything else will kind of get a little easier from there. It's like, do you remember the first girl that broke your heart?
Yeah.
Second one wasn't that bad, right?
No, it wasn't.
But the bombs are they hurt every single time.
There's some people that like I've heard like on podcasts. Some people that like enjoy the bomb. They actually enjoy. But do you think that is a defense? Like,
yeah, it could be. It could be.
Yeah.
But I also think that you kind of need to bomb it every time. You know,
you do.
It's like, you know, when you go up to a couple girls at the bar, you go up to 4 of them. One of them is gonna at least bite with one of your pickup lines, right? One of them's gonna be like, "No, fucking talk to me, gross, get out of here." I'm talking to her, leave me alone. Like, one of them's gonna be like, "Well, give him a chance. Give him a chance."
You're right. There's also you've got to be very careful because you can bomb it at an open mic, which the new stuff that I'm doing now is like, I would say it's like B material. I haven't got it to an A point yet. I don't know if I ever will. I don't know if it'll just always be good B material.
Yeah.
But at open mics, it's like, I'm getting like has. At shows, it's working. I'm getting good laughs. Yeah. Like not great laughs, but good laughs. So you've got to be so careful with how you have to get it in front of a live audience.
That's the problem with this. It's the pros and cons of New York City comedy, right? Everyone always says that New York City is a beautiful city for comedy because you can go on stage anywhere and do all these mics and whatnot. But that could also be like the curse too, right? Because you can go up and do that same set for that whole week and literally just be like, fuck, I think that was like a C minus, a D. And then you go to a show, and again, like I said before, somehow that C minus or that D turns into like a B minus or an A. You're like,
yeah.
Because that's the part. It's like, are you trying to make comics laugh? Jaded fucking human beings? Or are you trying to make people laugh? They're actually paying harder. Those are the ones that we really care about. But for us, it's hard because it's like, we can't just get booked all the time, right?
No.
So whenever we do get booked for something, whether it's, one of those Plan B shows or one of those, the Alex White shows, anything, any show, Bringer, whatever it is that you can get, you really have to make sure that you're bringing your A game. You can't mail it in, dog. You're not, no crowd work. Go into your shit and really, this is where all that blood, sweat, and tear and all the shit that you ate on stage at the Black Cat, or at the Comedy Shop or at the comic stripper Rodney's at St. Mark's, like all those dicks you were eating because no one was laughing. Let's see if this really worked or not.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's really what matters.
Yeah.
So really what matters, because if it doesn't work, then okay, shit, it really didn't work. But you have to keep trying it. Like, do you have like a routine in your head where it's like, okay, I've done this at 3 mics now, and I don't think I'm gonna do this tag anymore? Or
heaps of stuff. I've dropped so much. Like, I don't have any issue writing material. I've got so many things. I just have issue with getting it to a point where it's worthy of a joke. I tend to give up on stuff very quickly, which I probably shouldn't. But I've got a million stories in my head because I've got a million life experiences. That's probably one of the better things about starting comedy later at our age. But
I agree.
Yeah, I've given up on a lot of stuff, which I'm going to have to obviously go back to one day. But yeah, what about you?
Dude, I just want to say this real quick. Can you imagine being someone like James Patrick, 21 years old, doing this? Hey, your age, back 21. Imagine doing this shit.
I would have never thought to do it.
Some of these kids they're psychopaths, but they have a good head on their shoulders.
Yeah. and they're going to be stars, man, if they keep going.
I hope so, man. I hope they don't stop.
Do you think that I have an insecurity because I'm 35 and starting comedy, really starting to take it seriously very late. I sometimes think, oh, am I starting too late? Like even if I get my moment in a decade, we'll get is it too late? Do you ever think? Do you ever let that get in your head?
Sometimes, sometimes when you have those shitty days, you're like, But I mean, it's beautiful because the beauty of it is that we're not the only ones that just started doing comedy in their mid-30s or late 30s, right?
Yeah.
I'm friends with a lot of comics that just started doing comedy too that are like, some of them are in their 50s. So they're the ones that are like, oh my God, I wish I was 30. I was like, shit, I wish I was 20 starting.
Yeah.
But again.
You're right. It's just, and you know what?
But that's fine. It's normal to feel that way.
It goes back to what I said at the start is we all have a story to tell. Yeah. It doesn't matter who you are. As long as it's an interesting story, it doesn't matter if you're 20 years old or 70 years old. If you make people laugh.
Yeah. Do you feel like now I can kind of relate to when a girl looks at herself in the mirror, she's like, I think I'm fat.
Yeah.
That's how I feel sometimes. I'm like, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think that guy's going to buy me a drink. Now it's like the closest thing where I'm just like, damn, this is what it feels like. But it is a young man's game, right?
It is.
It is a young man's
game. It is. Or if it's an old man's game, it's a very understanding wife. You know what I mean?
I mean,
it sounds like your wife's very supportive.
God bless her.
Yeah. Same with mine.
But I think, and I said this to a lot of people, she works like West Coast hours. So when I come home just ending like an open mic, I'll get home at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. That's literally right when she's like closing her laptop. So that's perfect. Or sometimes I'm coming home and she's still working. So I'm like, okay. So I always make sure I text her like, hey, are you still working or what's going on? She's like, yeah, I'm still working. You can go do another mic or whatever it is. So she's super supportive about that. But there definitely have been times, I'm sure with you, where your wife is like, hey, not everything is a bit,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, I just wanted to know if you wanted anything to eat at the grocery, whatever.
Yeah.
No, she's super supportive, but you like in the beginning it was tough because they put this seed, they plant the seed in your head is like you have to do comedy every fucking day. You have to do like 10 mics. You have to breathe. And I'm like, and then you also realize, oh shit, I also have to go to work. I gotta go to the gym. I gotta do groceries. I gotta fucking do laundry. I forget that I have to be a husband. I have to walk my dog. So it's like, you just. I wouldn't be able to be where I'm at right now and like doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for my wife being so supportive with it too. So she's dope. It's cool as fuck. But she also knows sometimes like, all right, relax, bro. Like let's take a breather. I'm like, nah, I think that's funny.
Yeah. I have felt that in the last 7 months, I felt some of the highest highs of my life. And some of the lowest lows.
But it's so fucking crazy. How high? Like, how do you feel with those highs?
Oh, dude. That's like, I've taken a lot of drugs in my life.
Bro.
And nothing compares to the high that you feel when you do a good show. Nothing even close.
Let me ask you this. I've been asking, this is a question I've been asking like comics that have been doing around the same amount of time as me. How did you feel that high coming off the stage when you did Industry Room?
Amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
For those who don't know what Industry Room is, there's like it's the Broadway Comedy Club. It's like it's a bringer show, right? You got to bring 5 people minimum, and it's in the downstairs part of Broadway Comedy Club, and this place holds it seats like 200 people, maybe 150.
I would say.
And they fucking packed this whole thing up, but they also have like 20 comics on the lineup, so it's fucking.
It's a big show.
So it's like I wouldn't say it's an easy show, but the people that you bring, they're there to see you do well. Some people are there probably to see you maybe burn up there. But a lot of times, like, in order for you not to get like laughs, you really have to be like saying some wow.
Yeah. Bringer shows are generally more forgiving than
But the Industry Room, dude, like that high, that was coming off that just a room full of like 150 plus people in the audience, and they were just like laughing. You're like, wait, where's? And it's like a delayed last because it's like a big room, so you have to wait for the last to come hit you. And that rush was kind of wild, where shaking, like having the James Patrick shaky hands, just like, oh my God, this is insane. But it's like, it's the most insane feel. But then again, every high has its low.
Yeah.
And the lows are very low.
Dude.
It's like the Zoloft commercial, dude. It's like, that joke is not hitting anymore. The joke that I always hit, that always hits for some reason, It's not, but that's because you're not going in there with that confidence.
Yeah. Some of the lows I've felt in this city have been brutal. Like not even wanting to get out of bed.
And with this weather right now,
Yeah.
cold weather, it's like, when am I going?
Yeah.
This is the week where you really like. If you were out doing stand-up comedy this week, and like, this is where you really saw who the actual dogs that really got this shit for real. Because
dude, I did barking on Tuesday night. It was on the minus. It was like I don't know Fahrenheit, but degrees. It was -8 to -10 degrees Celsius.
Oh yeah.
And I barked for this. We got enough in for the first show, and then at St. Mark's, and the second show didn't get enough in, so I stood out there for an hour and a half to not even do a show. The tips of my toes were fucking were painful. I wore 2 socks, and anyways. But yeah,
you went 1.5 in single digits is okay, and then
it gets you.
And then you get on stage and you're just so depleted. You're so exhausted because your body was just like trying to stay warm all the time. Yeah. Dude, I've done some barking for them where.
You had a good show with them this week.
Yeah. I have a show with them next week. I had a good one with them last Sunday. But yeah, I've been pretty fortunate to get put on a few shows here and there.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah, so far, but you know that can dry up real quick. So I'm just enjoying. This month has been like the month where I've been put on the most shows, but we'll see what happens. I'm also not like married to the idea of like every month I'm gonna have this amount of shows. No, it's like no.
We don't have that control.
No,
unless we produce our own shows.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off with your barking story.
Yeah.
Finish your barking story.
Oh no, dude, I've barked and stayed out there hot weather days, cold weather days, and show's canceled. No one's. I'm like, fuck. So what do I do now? They're like, just go home.
Yeah. And
that's really when you really figure out like if this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's either you bark or you can do bringers, and everyone knows how bringers go.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's hit or miss with that in terms of if they're pro bringers or not. But
how do you feel about them?
I'm a fan of anything that allows you to get stage time.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, even if I bring like 10 people here and they're all laughing, it's still like I'm still trying to get comfortable out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything bad to say about bringers because at the end of the day, you got to sell tickets. That's the business of it, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
My mindset's changed a little bit towards bringers. I think it's a little bit of a two-way street. I think like 1 or 2 person bringers are fine because they're really easy. But when you're doing a 5 or a 6 person bringer for a club and you're not getting any spots out of it in return, and I did that at the start. I'm not doing them anymore.
Dude.
I'm not into that anymore. I'm just like I've worn out my people. I feel a lot of stress even just asking people to come. And when I do bringers, I always pay for people's tickets because I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I think if you're asking people to come and be your bringer, especially if they're comics, you should get their tickets. That's
if you have the money, right?
Yeah, if you have the money.
But the 5 bringers, like that's like what, $100 right there, $25 a pop.
That's why I love the industry room though, because it's a 5 person bringer and you get spots. I think it's fantastic what they're doing down there. Shout out to the
and you can do it as many fucking times as you want.
Yeah,
right. You can do them as many times.
I'm doing it tomorrow. For the second time.
Beautiful, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you got much better than the first time you did it.
Oh, dude.
Just don't party like you did the day after that first one.
Yeah.
No, I will say when I in the beginning half of it, when I started doing like when I started telling myself, okay, I'm not getting booked on shows because no one knows me.
Yeah.
I was like, people were hitting me up. They were messaging me and be like, hey, I see you've been doing stand-up. Like, can I see one of your shows? I'm like, nah, not yet. And then I would just get people coming in to just traveling. They're like, hey, dude, are you going to be doing a show this weekend? I'm going to be in town with like my cousin and this and that. So then I would start actually doing bringers. And I've noticed that I would have the same people that would ask me, hey, are you going to do a show next month again? I want to come by. I'm going to bring such and such. I was like, okay. And in my head, I was like, well, I'm not going to do the same material. So I was using bringers as a way to constantly try to pump out the 5 minutes. And honestly, dude, that's how I've been using it.
Amazing.
It's been weird, but
yeah.
I mean, when I did the industry room and they gave me the spots, it was cool because obviously once you get spots, you don't have to invite anybody.
Yeah.
And then when I did my first spot after the industry room, I was like, oh, no one's laughing like I did at my industry room set. What's going on? Because it's like, no, your set, you got to do this and try to make everyone laugh. And everyone that was in the crowd were definitely people that were traveling.
The Broadway is its own beast. For a lot of people who don't know, Broadway does a lot of barking. So a lot of the people that come in on standard nights are international people. They're in New York for like a few nights. Someone's like, hey, you want to come to a comedy show? They're like, oh, we just finished dinner. I guess we could catch a show.
Yeah.
And so I found the same thing. And another little hack for everyone, if you're doing the industry room for a second time, you can call up and ask for some warm-up spots.
Really?
I did that this week and I got 3 spots out of it.
No.
So there's a little hack for you. I don't think he'll do it on the first time if it's your first time, but if you're second or third time.
Because they trust you after the first one.
Yeah, they'll cool. So you can get some warm-up spots. And I know I've got Harrison did it as well. And he's
been doing
warm-up.
Yeah.
They got warm-up spots. Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know what barking is, I'm sorry, I forgot to let that. Barking is when there's a guy outside of a comedy club that literally, as you're walking by, hey, do you like comedy? You want to go to see a comedy show? Dave Chappelle's going to be there. And then when you walk in, it's Cam and myself, and they're like, hey, you like dick jokes? Yeah. No, Dave Chappelle. No. So a lot of times they'll get there and they're like, where the fuck is Dave Chappelle?
Yeah.
And they just see us.
Yeah.
And we're just like, so would you guys think about
But look how handsome we are.
It's so fun. No, but I think that if there's no other way for you to get stage time, if you have the ability to do bringers, do them.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to know if your shit is working if you're not testing it out in front of a live audience versus like if you're doing it constantly with like these comics?
You don't. Comedy Mob is a good one for that.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting Kevin on the podcast in a couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
He's the owner of Comedy Mob, and they're like the one person bringer, but that's a really good gauge. So that material that you've been seeing me work on, I did it yesterday at the Comedy Mob, and I'm like, okay, I know where I'm getting the laugh, I know where I'm not getting the laugh now. Yeah. And I've did it at a few shows this week too. But it's so interesting as well, going back to like trying material on shows, because there's some bits that I've got, I don't know if you've seen this as well, there's some bits I've got on a certain day, I'll get a good laugh. And another day I won't get anything, or I'll get like a little Yeah. It's so weird. This game, until you become like an A+ murderer, it is such a weird journey.
Do you ever go up there sometimes and just like immediately sense like the vibe of like how your set's gonna go because of like what the energy feels like?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
And then if you're lucky enough to be the comic that's able to kind of crack that shell open, just like have everyone start dying, then that's cool.
Yeah.
But that's why it's good as a comic, it's especially in New York, it's always good to try to do your open mics at different venues. Don't do the same ones every other week. You got to try doing a mic in the Upper East Side. You got to do a mic in Midtown. You got to do a mic downtown.
That's what I've been.
Chinatown, Alphabet City, go to Brooklyn, Queens, because those comics, they don't know you.
Yeah.
And if they don't know you and they're seeing your shit for the first time, that's how you truly know if your shit is good or not. In a way.
That's been my attitude. I've got especially lately, a lot of people are like, well, we don't see you on the same mics anymore. I'm like, well, I'm doing different mics because it was always the same people, and I wasn't getting a good reaction anymore. And that insecurity, these guys have seen all my stuff. I can't, because I like to sometimes just go to a mic and just do old stuff, just to keep it tight. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I just want to have a good day. I just want to go in there and get some fucking laughs, and I want to feel good about myself.
Just want to go for a jog. I don't want to go too crazy. I just want to just move the body.
Exactly. 100%. And that's fun when you go to new mics. I got the same attitude.
1,000%.
So I want to ask you, Niko, how'd you get into comedy? Well, give me the inception story. Is that the right word? Inception?
Yeah. Like the origin story.
Yeah, give me the origin story.
So I always loved everything comedy related, like movies, fucking everything stand-up related, anything that made people laugh. Like I was always into it, whether it was like the radio stations, anything I was always a fan of that. And when I was young, I was like a shy kid. I mean, it may not seem like it, but I was always a shy kid. And
no, it doesn't seem like it.
No, I know. And I grew up in a pretty, I wouldn't say I grew up in a rough area, but I grew up in an area in Jamaica, Queens, where you had to kind of be a little rugged, you had to kind of be, just protect yourself and stuff like that. And I was like the only kid in the neighborhood I was like I was bones, I was skinny, whatever. So my like way of kind of protecting myself was I would just make the kids in my area laugh. Like I would just do things just to be like, and they would all laugh and die. Yo, Niko, tell what you just said. Say what you said last week. I was like, and then they would start laughing, and then they kind of would let me hang out with them. And that was their way of me just be hanging out. And then I started realizing, wait, making people laugh is another way of like kind of having them accept you in or whatnot. And in every situation that was like awkward or uncomfortable, I was always not serious. So every time something would happen, I could always remember someone saying like, hey, can you just be serious for once? I'm like, probably not. But
was that your way to like diffuse an
100%.
uncomfortability you were feeling?
Every time. Like
I can relate to that because when I would get in trouble, I was the class clown, but when I would get in trouble, I would laugh and it would then get me in more trouble. But it made me, and you probably noticed on the podcast a lot, I laugh a lot at like little things, but that's just the way that I am. But even when I'm in any sort of situation, my thing was, anyway, keep going.
No. You can keep going. I'm interested.
No, but I that's pretty much all I have to say.
No, making someone laugh is an interesting gift. I've noticed, and that's why I enjoy doing it, because if I can like just have someone for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes, whatever time I have on stage, if I can just have them forget about their shitty day or their whatever they're dealing with their loved one, or someone's sick, or like their job is cheating them. Like if I could just have them forget about that for like 5 minutes and then just like, oh my God, what the hell that just happened? Like if I could just take them to a different place and just have them laugh, for me, that's like the most rewarding thing ever, And I think that for me, I feel like I was put on this planet to provide a service, whether it's making someone laugh or what I do for a living, which is like I work in the physical therapy field, which is like if I can help them do something physically or emotionally just to kind of help them just better their life, that's great. But for me, it's like a lot of people have always told me like you should do something like with comedy, and I was like, sure, whatever that means. But growing up, being first generation, my parents are immigrants, and for them it was like, you got to be a doctor, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like, do you want to be funny? Make me laugh. Like, I would always get in trouble in school. Like every single time, parent teacher conference, it'd be like, Niko has a lot of potential to be a good student, but he's more concerned about making people laugh than what's going on in the Renaissance. And I'm just like, and the thing is, like, I was a good student when I had to be, but that seems like to be the kind of the moral of like everything that I do in life. It's like when it's crunch time, I'll get there, I'll get it done, which I wish I was a lot more prepared for a lot of things. But I think that the amount of times that people would always tell me like, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and then they would constantly say, you're funny. I'm like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. And everywhere I would go, they would say that I'm a funny kid, and I was like, cool. And then the other day, I was doing some spring cleaning in my apartment, and I found my high school yearbook, and I opened it up. And the yearbook here in the States, like a lot of your classmates, they'll sign it and be like, hey, good luck, this and that. Dude, 4 pages full. They were like, you're the funniest kid I've ever met. Wow. I hope one day that I can see you doing this. And I was just like, and that kind of like, that was when I was like 13, 14. And I was like, I think stand-up is what I have to do.
Wow.
But the real reason why I really jumped into doing stand-up was about like when I started in 2023, I was thinking about doing it, and I was nervous because like public speaking is such a big fear of mine. Like I'm sure a lot of people are, right?
Yeah, you still got the shy kid inside of you.
Yeah. It's like, so I've always wanted to do it, dude. I went to like 10 open mics, but I just sat there and I would just watch. And one day, it was like the 10th mic that I went to, and this is in a story. I grew up 34, and I get there, I pay my $2 to get a water, and the guy's like, oh, since you paid, I'll give you an extra minute. I was like, oh no, I'm not doing a mic. He's like, dude, you've been coming here for like 4 weeks now, just watching. He's like, do you try to do stand up? I was like, yeah, but I just want to watch. And he's like, all right, no problem. Whenever you're ready, we're here. And then there was a comic that was behind me. He was like, bro, you just got to do it, man. Just fucking do it. And I was like, no. And then I sit down.
I can feel your nerves.
Yeah, I was like, he's like, dude, because you've been here literally every fucking, and you're like the first one in and the last one out. Like, I'm like, yeah, because I'm studying it. And then that dude that was behind me was like, you just gotta fucking do it, bro. Just rip the fucking Band-Aid off and that's it. Be a man. And I was like, all right, whatever, bro. I sat down and I watched him go up, and he fucking bombed. I got up and I signed up, and I was like, I'll go up right now. And I got like 2 little laughs, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and the fact that I it's not recording. The fact that I went up and got just a laugh or 2, and I got more laughs than that guy, I was like, okay, that's what I needed. It was like the stupidest reason to do it, but that was my first ever open mic experience. And
I think that's how a lot of people start. They're like, all right, well, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, it was weird.
But
It was weird.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. I did enjoy that because it was like a rush that I never felt. I think the closest was when I was like, when I remember being young, we were super young, and like I think it was like my first kiss, and I was like, oh my god. And then when I got off stage, I was just like, my whole body, dude, it was like everything was. I felt like I was on fire, like in a good way. I was like, what's going on? Like I feel like I'm on. It was like probably just the craziest amount of adrenaline just running through my whole body. And then that following Monday, I signed up for the Comedy Cellar comedy classes,
Nice.
and that's how I started
Who with?
with Rick Chrome.
Nice.
Because I was because again I was going to all these open mics and I was going to shows, dude. Like I literally was going to these all by myself. Like I didn't know anyone in this thing. I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I don't want anyone to know. I'm gonna do this by myself. So I would go to all these shows, like little indie shows, and then I would follow comics that were born and raised in New York, that were Queens guys like me or girls, and that's kind of how I got into it. This one comic in particular, Niko, who she's fucking hilarious. She's someone that I would follow. And I listened to all her podcasts, and she would talk about how she got into the game, and I just literally copied and pasted everything she told me. And then Talia Romina, who's another comic, she's the one that told me about the Comedy Cellar classes. She's like, that's how you should start. I was like, I don't have any stage experience. I'm not an actor. I don't know theater. I'm 32 years old. I don't want to just hop on stage and just try to figure it out. Like I also don't want to skip any steps, but I want to be able to like learn from the greats and be like, how can I structure a joke? If I can take my time and really genuinely work hard, I want to continue to do it, but I want to do it the right way. I don't want to like skip any steps. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing it the right way. So when I signed up for the Comedy Cellar class, like he literally just taught you how to look at this big story you just gave me. The only laugh was all the way over here, and it was just a long fucking lengthy thing. Let's structure it here, let's structure it there, and boom, boom, boom. And I learned how to actually structure a joke. Here's a premise, and here's this, and here's that. And dude, I haven't stopped doing it ever since. And I think it's been probably the best decision I've ever made. My wife did not, when I was only a year married to my wife, and she's like, wait, you're doing stand-up comedy? How come you doing what? This is new. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just doing it. And I haven't stopped.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's
dude.
a good story. Man.
It is a crazy story, but I wish it was a cooler story, but that's literally how I got into it. It's really just, my biggest fear was public speaking, and I was like, I want to speak in front of everybody, and if I can make some random person from like Serbia laugh, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you are going okay. You just recently won the Comfy Comedy competition.
That was wild.
Which was out of how many comics?
150.
Wow. I mean that
was weird.
That's like, big. And there's some guys in that have been doing it for some years.
Yeah. That was weird because like it was like I was the finalist. It was like 10 comics, and out of all the comics that were in the finals, I was like the only one that was only like a year in. But I told myself that I planned for that tournament like a whole year in advance. Like I was like I want to at least make it to the semifinals, and then I was like, oh shit, I just made it to the finals. Okay, like I want to at least make it at least top 4, and then. Dude, I don't know. I watched my set because they taped it, and I was just like, holy shit, I've never seen that type of energy. And then I look at it now, I'm like, that was a pretty shitty set. I feel like I'm better now than I was in December.
Of course.
But yeah, dude. And I think that for me, my mindset was like, if I can at least get far in that even though I think comedy competitions are just, I look at it more as like stage time, stage time. But for me, my whole thing was like, if I can win this, maybe that'll get my face out for someone that's putting together a show that's like, hey, you want to do a show? And it actually has. So it kind of paid off.
Amazing.
For now, but yeah. It was scary as fuck, though, I'll tell you that much.
Why? Because
the biggest audience, like in terms of like the industry room was the only one that felt that way. But this one was like, I've done mics at the comic strip so many times, and it's always been like 4 or like 11 people.
Yeah.
The whole shit was sold out. There was people standing. It was like insane. And I was like, oh, fuck.
I bet it was electric.
Dude, it was, yeah. Like the tip of my dick was on fire. And it wasn't because of the chlamydia coming back. It was insane. It was so crazy because after it ended and like they gave me the trophy and I won, one of the comics who I thought was going to win, he fucking, dude, amazing. his mom comes up to me and she's like, my son was the one that was up before you. You were my favorite comic. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, that's hilarious. So funny.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, dude. No, it was cool. I recommend anyone that's doing comedy. It's every year they do it at the comic strip. Follow them on Instagram. It's Comfy Comedy, COMFY Comedy. Dude, it's a phenomenal fucking tournament, and it's you're doing stand up in front of a whole bunch of people. So if you really want to see if your shit works, there you go, do it.
Pete is a legend too.
Pete is a fucking savage.
I'm getting him on in a couple of weeks.
Dude, he's a monster.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's so funny.
I love the guy.
He is so hilarious.
I'm only sort of new to that room, but I love it. I'm going to be going there more often.
You should.
And I'm going to use it as an opportunity to host.
Oh yeah,
more.
Yeah, that's how I started too. And I would just email him. I'll be like, I'll DM him I want to sign up for the mic, and he'd just be like, hey, if you ever want to host, I was like, yeah, just put me up whenever you want. And that's how I do it. Like I'll reach out to a bunch of open mics, like to the guys that run them or the girls that run them. I'm like, hey, if you're ever out of town or if you ever need someone just to host, like I'll just hop on.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh my God, really? Yes, do it.
Have you ever thought about doing like the Buddha mics, hosting those?
You know, I never thought. I actually reached out to Darren.
Mm-hmm.
I DM'd her and she never got back to me because I was really interested at the time. This is when they just started doing the mics at Rodney's. Mm-hmm. I live like 2 blocks away from Rodney's. Mm-hmm. So they would, at the time when they first started doing the mics at Rodney's, they were doing like 8 p.m. mics. I was like, that's perfect for me because I get out of work at like 6:30. I can only ever really make it to like the 7 o'clock mics. And I would have did that if that was on the table, but they ended up not doing it because a lot of people weren't showing up to that one. But I'm not against doing anything for stage time, dog.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything?
Yeah, right. How bad do you want to do a show at Producers Club?
Let me ask you, what's your thoughts on a roast battle? So I saw that the Comfy Comedy doing a roast battle.
Yeah, Peter was talking about
you had to register on Instagram recently. Yeah, I didn't register because I don't think it's my thing yet. I'm
not a roaster.
Tried it. I
signed up, but I only signed up because I'm like, I want to try to like write to kind of challenge that muscle, but I'm not a
no.
At least if I do when I roast my buddies, it's like we're just fucking around.
Yeah.
But I feel like for me, it's like, I feel like it can get a little dark. You know what I'm saying? It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it, so I guess it is my thing.
Maybe I should sign up. It's probably too late, but Peter will probably.
You know what it is? Peter was like, should we do? So he was talking about it, and I was like, dude, you should definitely do it. And then he sends me the form, and I was like, well, I did tell him to do it, so I might as well do it myself too. So
yeah, I should just. I'm more scared that I'm going to suck at it, but it doesn't matter.
I will tell you, I went to Grove 34 to see the roasted. They have like a big roast down there. I think it's just called Roasted. Mm-hmm. Dude, it was intimidating. When I was sitting I was just watching. I was watching JJ Arias. He was up there. And I was watching that, just like the same feeling of when I was sitting in the open mics before I ever started doing stand-up. I was like, I can never do this.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's my thing.
So the fact that I just signed up for this thing, I'm just like, what the fuck did I just do, man?
Yeah, I don't think it's my thing. I'm going to be honest.
I don't even know. Like, it's like...
I don't like giving people shit either. It's never been in my nature to be that kind of person. So
I like poking, like fucking around, because like, you know, I grew up with 4 sisters, so it's like I'm always like the big brother energy.
Yeah.
But comics are weird, dude. You know, it's like you can laugh around in here and poke fun at them, but it's like, did they get offended by that?
Yeah.
Are they triggered? You know, it's like, and the weirdest thing is like, and for some reason I get actually joy out of the idea of a comic getting offended. I'm like, it makes me want to like dig even more.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, maybe I shouldn't do the roast battles. You see what I'm saying? It's like you are the person that always talks about like, oh, this person is so soft. Why are they so offended? It's like, yeah, but you can't even take a joke about this guy making a joke about like your dead dad or whatever.
Yeah.
It's fair. It's play ball, right? But listen, we're human, right? But you also have to understand that you also can be a hypocrite.
Yeah. I should sign up for it.
No, I'm not saying you should.
No,
I'm not telling you to do it.
No, I should. I should just do it because the fact that I don't want to do it, I'm scared of doing it, is a sign that I should do it.
I'm not gonna do well. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely.
You might.
I might. I might.
We might see the demon come out in you, just like it's like just an absolute.
I'm used to
shit.
I'm just used to arguing with women because I grew up with so many ladies. So if I have a lady comic, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, again, I'm not. This is probably gonna be the only like roast I do.
Okay.
Yeah, because
it's a pretty safe environment.
100%. And that's the thing. And Peter was like, we're trying to make it, fun. And listen, if they hit me with some crazy shit, I gotta take it on the chin and just keep going. But that's the whole point of it. It's supposed to be fun. But I mean,
but the thing about a roast
I don't
is
get offended like that though.
Yeah. It is personal because it is trying to.
You have to tell them a lot of your shit.
Yeah.
And then they like dig into it, which is like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Actually, sounds fun.
you know what I mean? It's like, it's like a therapy session, but it's also like, whatever, dude. It's like, fine. A 18-year-old just made fun of me. Fine. Like Raphael, that little kid, dude, 15. Can you? And we're over here talking about like James Patrick and starting at 21. This kid just started at 15.
15.
So 15 years from now, he'll just hit 30 and he's going to probably be
a murderer.
A monster.
Yeah. He's already like, he's not funny. Let's just put it out there. He doesn't get any laughs.
Shout out to Raphael.
Yeah. He's a legend, but he doesn't get any laughs. But
dude,
he's got some fucking balls, man.
He sits in the pocket when he's
like,
all right, well, I get, and then he's always like, well, it's because you guys didn't get that because you guys are too old.
He's a legend. I even told him to his face.
No, dude.
I was like, dude, you're not funny yet, but you're gonna be, and you're really
15.
Yeah,
doing stand up with like us. No, thank you.
He's gonna be a murderer.
Bro, I wasn't even talking. Yeah, I wasn't even talking to some of my family's friends at house parties. I'm just like, I'm gonna just leave me alone. Yeah. He's over here like, so Joseph Stalin. I'm like, Joseph Stalin. Jesus, this kid's well read.
He's a freak, and he brings his stepmom.
Oh my god!
And his stepmom's, she's cool. She's very cool.
She's a cool and a nice looking lady.
Yeah. Shout out to Raphael.
Did you hear what she said to me the other night? Yes, stepmom. She's young too.
Yeah, she couldn't be older than us.
Yeah, she's definitely, but she kind of looks like him. I don't know. Maybe they
look like they're related,
right? But if it's his sister, he's just lying.
I know. What if that is the strategy, so that no one fucks his sister? Could be.
It's a good strategy. But again,
I hope one of us get up against Raphael.
I love whenever he's at the mics. I have that bit with him, and he's super cool with it. But Peter fucking I wouldn't say he hates it. He laughs every single time because it's very cringe. Because I always tell Peter, I was like, put me right after Raphael, because Raphael will do his set, and then I'll go up and I'll grab the mic and I'm like, oh, it still smells like you, Raphael. And I look right at him, at his stepmom, and he's just like, oh my God. And then Peter's just like, fuck, what did I do? And I'm like, oh, you should sit on the stool next time. And I'm just like rubbing the stool. It's like, it's just a funny bit that he and I have it. But his stepmom or whatever she is, like when we were at Brady's, when she was leaving, saying goodbye to all of us, she goes to me, she's like, see you later, John Stamos. I was like, what the fuck?
Really?
I started laughing.
What a legend.
I know, that's pretty cool. I love yogurt. Greek yogurt's I'm a Greek yogurt guy.
She's a good stepmom. Why is she going with him though? Because he's old enough to go on his own.
Yeah,
he doesn't need parental supervision.
And I honestly think that he's been doing it stand up longer than I've been doing stand up for sure.
Really?
And I think that's what Peter was telling me. And because apparently one time he did one of DF's. So DF is one of the bookers at the comic shop. He does like a bringer on Saturday. Apparently he brought like 20 people there, and it was all young kids, like his age. And like everyone that was going
that would have been so fun.
Everyone that was going up was bombing, except for Raphael.
No. Really?
They were like heckling all the comics, and then Raphael, he did his thing. But yeah, I think that he's been coming to Comfy long enough that he can literally hang out with us. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Of course. He comes to the pub after.
Bro, if he wants to spit a bag of Coke with us, it's okay.
Yeah. I would. I would definitely do a line of cocaine.
Can you want to hit this vid?
Key bum?
Yeah, right. He goes, all right, let me just do it off my library card. It's like,
I'm going to do it off my stepmom's tits. Come on.
dude, he's got to be careful, though. You can't be bringing that lady around these fucking psychos, these degenerates. I told you this, Yaz. He's got to be careful.
There's a few girls getting around comedy at the moment, and there's some of the boys are like, should I? I'm like, don't fuck the girls.
No,
don't do it. Don't do it.
But again,
don't fuck it up for us. It's nice having a few girls in the room. It does make a difference, don't you think?
Yeah. No.
When there's a couple of girls at a mic,
dude,
the energy changes a little. It just shifts a little.
I do in ways. I do feel like I understand why they would feel a certain way, like why they don't want to go to certain mics, like the ladies, because it's like just dumbass guys just talking stupid shit.
Yeah. Like the late nights. Yeah. Some of them are bad. Some of them are really bad.
Dude, there's a lot of...
I've seen some bad.
There's a lot of female comics out there that are fucking monsters.
Yeah.
Like monsters. Dude. Have you heard of Caroline Haynes? She's a monster.
In what sense?
Her writing is so good. She was a writer on, I think it was Love Island too. Wow. She was literally writing jokes for like the narrator of the show. She's just, when I first started, like I would always just go to like certain mics, and then I would see her at like sesh comedy mics, and she was so good. Like there's another Alejandra Jimenez. She's fucking hilarious. Mika Mo, like I was telling you before, she's like one of the reasons why I started doing comedy. She's a monster. Like if you look her up, like she's just nonstop killer. And Talia Ramina. There's so many like lady comics. I hate when like male comics are like, no, I don't think women should do comedy. I don't think they're funny. I was like, did you see Nikki Glaser light up the fucking roast to Tom Brady? Or did you see her fucking light up like the Golden Globes? Like insane.
Yeah.
And there's another one, Chloe Firmino. She's fucking a monster too. It's just they just know what they want to talk about, and I think that's why like male comics are like, I don't think they're funny, because they actually know what they want to talk about. Versus like us, it's like, I lost my job and I was on the Field app, and it was like the Kink app. It's like, bro,
yeah,
like all right, I get it. But it's also me, because I think it's because I'm 34, so I'm like, bro, like all right, cool. Says the comic that has a fucking a foreskin joke. So don't take anything I'm saying serious. My fucking schmegma joke is just what I just said. Don't worry about it. It's all jokes, dude.
So where do you get your jokes from? Where do you get your material from? Where do you get your inspiration from? And
it's a good one.
Tell me your writing style.
So
how does it start from the start to the finish? And I also want to know,
I love it.
I want to know, do you do it on notes? Do you do it on handwritten? Yeah. Give me the picture.
So a lot of times when I'm like, my creative process is, I do a lot of walking. I walk around, and whether I'm walking my dog or at work, like I'm constantly walking around like my physical therapy clinic, I'm walking. And I think that's what kind of gets the juices flowing too. And a lot of times I can't just sit down and like if an idea comes up in my head, a little funny thought, I write that down real quick on in my phone or like on a post. I'm a big Post-it note guy. And once I think of something silly, I'll write it down. And that same day, I'm like, I'm going to go try this out at a mic. But I don't know what the fuck, how I'm going to say it. I just try it out at a mic. And if the thought that I thought of, if it comes out okay and there's something, then I take that Post-it note, I put it on the table, I crack out the laptop, I'll start typing it out a bit. But I'm only typing out like, okay, this is what my punchline is. Because a lot of times it's either I have the punchline and no premise, or vice versa. And from there, I'll write it in the laptop, and then I'll write it on paper. I'll write it all over my apartment. Like I'll make sure I just have it all over. I have it on my phone, and like I have it like on my Google Docs. Like I'll look it up and I'll just write it. But I can't physically pen to paper write it. I pace around my apartment with my dog's chew toy as like a microphone. I'm like,
and you're saying it,
and I'm saying it. I'll do it in front of like the mirror. I'm like, and I'll write it down, and I'll record it. Just like that, whatever bit is, I'll record that bit and I'll play it back, and like I'm like, okay, but I don't delete it. I'll go to bed and I'll wake up the next morning, my mind is a different place, and I listen to it again. I'm like, maybe if I did it this way, as I'm walking my dog, or if I'm in the gym, I'm like, okay, what if I did it this way? And then I'll start doing it again at the mic, a different way, and a different way, and a different way.
So you're writing on stage,
yeah,
and you're writing in person,
yeah. But
that's rare.
I just started doing that and I started doing it in like the end of November because I don't like, because you know we're still so new, so a lot of the stuff looks like it's like rehearsed, and like for me it's like I'm trying to be as conversational as possible. Like I want to, when I'm up there, like my goal is, even if I don't get a laugh on a certain thing, I want to feel like hey, so it feels like I'm talking to you, but there's 40 people in the audience. Like that's what I'm trying to do. So I do a lot of writing on stage, but I record everything. I video record everything. I have my tripod, every mic, every show. Like I did a spot yesterday at a hostel in Long Island City, and Gilberto was like, dude, this is not that type of show. You know, I was like, no. I'm always recording my shit no matter what. I don't care, because you never know. And yesterday I had I was making fucking dudes from like Germany laugh at like stupid jokes that was new stuff that I was trying. And I was like, okay. And I played it back, and it was new tags that I was adding. And I was like, holy shit. That was just off something that I literally just was fucking around. Like, have you ever like did a joke that you out of nowhere were like feeling, and you just like added it?
Yeah.
And it's just like, whoa.
That happens on shows a lot. I'll add a little something.
If you're cooking too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Dude, and that's why for me, it's like, that's been working. When I first started doing comedy, though, in the beginning, I was very like, but then when I was doing it, I was noticing when I was on stage, I was like very robotic. Here's the punchline. And for me, it's like, that doesn't sound like me. What the fuck? And then I would listen to podcasts and like read books and shit like that. And like Bill Burr is a big like, I write on stage. But the thing with Bill Burr is that he was writing and doing it the correct way for like 20 plus years. And then he started writing on stage later on in his career. But for me, it's like, I'm trying to be as conversational as possible and make it sound like it's literally something that just popped up out of my head without it feeling like I just wrote it on paper. So a lot of my jokes still do feel like that way because I don't have any faith in them just yet. You know what I mean? But I do write it on stage. But if it's something that's working on stage that I'm riffing on, I definitely take that video and I'm like, okay, then I write that shit out immediately. I'll write it out immediately on my computer, and then I'll handwrite it down too. And I'm just like, once I feel like, okay, it's getting a laugh, okay, it's there, then I'm like, okay, take this word out, take this, it's too fat now. Like, maybe I could shorten this word, or, you know, because it's like, right now, there's a joke there's a bit right now that I'm trying to talk about. You know, I grew up in a household that was like a 2-bedroom apartment in Queens, and it was 7 of us, but I've been changing the number 7 to 8 because I feel like 8 is easier to come out than 7. 7. 8 is quick. For like the syllables. So I'm like, if I just say 8, it kind of enhances it a little bit more because it's like, wow, that's a lot of people versus like 7. 7 is still a lot of people, but like I feel like the syllables is like 7 versus like 8 people, and just get to the point quicker. And it's been working, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I can also next month be like, I went back to just writing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm noticing that I'm getting a lot more comfortable up there doing the technique that I'm doing now. So let's see if it works, and if it doesn't work, then back to the drawing board again, dude.
I love that.
A lot of my favorite comics that I watch, like they do that too. Like that guy I was saying about Eagle Wit, Ricky Velez is just like another Queens legend. He's like half Puerto Rican, half Irish. He's one of my favorite comedians. He does the same. It's so crazy when you like DM these comics and they respond to you. Like I asked him, I was like, hey, I've been doing comedy for like a year. Do you have any? And he just literally like gave me like this fucking long ass like paragraph of like what, like keep doing this, do that. But whatever you do, make sure it's authentic. And when you leave, make people feel like, I don't know this kid, but I feel like I actually know exactly what this kid is. And like, I learned a lot from this, or like,
that's my favorite kind of comedy.
That's what I want. I just don't know how to get there, but you know what? Whatever.
You're getting there, man. I didn't realize, I mean this honestly, like I didn't realize you were so new. Like you're saying you're 18 months in. I thought you were a lot more than that.
Nah.
Yeah, I thought that because you're
a weirdo, dude.
You're doing really good.
I count every move like a fucking psychopath. I'm like, I'm doing really good, but it's also because it's like I found something that genuinely I have a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, like, listen, I'm a what I do for a living, I love what I do for a living. I love that I'm able to pay my bills and pay my rent, and I love that. I love what I do. The thing is that I don't think I would ever want to quit my job because I love doing what I do. But if comedy starts paying me when my job pays me, then of course.
Of course.
But the fact that my job currently is allowing me to do stand-up, and like my job is a day job. Like I wake up at 6 a.m., I train clients, I do rehab either at their homes or at 2 gyms that I rent out downtown in Union Square or one in Midtown, or I train them, virtually. And then from 11 to 6 o'clock, I'm in the clinic. And then from 6 p.m. until comedy. It's comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing it, dude. It's awesome. It's like, but I just can't stop, dude. And I think it's a nice, healthy obsession.
Yeah.
And I think that it's good for me because I work on my muscles, my body. I'm very big on fitness. And I was always looking for that one thing to help me work the most important muscle, which is your brain.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful to see guys like you just like keep fucking cooking it, man. It's so cool. Just to see everyone just like actually, it's so cool to see comics that actually take it serious.
Yeah.
And because there's comics out there that are fucking hilarious and they're just like, but it's okay. It's fine. Like you said, some days you go up there, we just want to kind of wing it and have fun, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then you step into like, that's what I feel like. That's how Black Cat is for me. I specifically set up my mics when I'm working on material. Like, okay, this specific mic is good for me to try out shit and just be like super vulnerable. Like if I bomb, who cares?
Yeah.
And then that's what all like my Upper East Side, Midtown mics are. That's how I feel with those. Like, I can just like kind of. But then when I'm like, okay, it's starting to get a little stronger right now, I'll make my way downtown.
Yeah.
Because this is where the killers are. The fucking sharks are down here.
Yeah.
So I'll go
Bleecker Street, some of the guys down there are unbelievable.
But that's, you know what I'm saying? So like if I'm doing well in these in the Upper East Side, Midtown, or like Queens, I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna go to like where the cellar is, like down there in that Bleecker Street, that McDougal Street. I'm gonna do like the Greenwich Village, the comedy shop, or the Black Cat. That's why I see, because Black Cat, dude, there's so many fucking monsters over there. I love that place.
I love it. And sometimes you can walk away feeling on top of the world, and sometimes it is so brutal.
Yeah. I love that.
It is so brutal.
I love it.
I had a bad one last Saturday there. I walked away. I was like, I fucked that up.
The 9 p.m.
And then 7:30. I did the 9. I didn't get up till like 10:30.
That's beautiful.
And I was like, I fucked it up. I felt so bad. But then a guy messaged me. He goes, I'm so impressed at your set. I can't believe how good your writing is. And I was like, dude, if only you knew. I was about to jump off the cliff on the way home. Like, what the fuck?
That's the funniest thing. It's like, what am I doing? What's going on? It's always just, you're looking at your reflection every single time. It's like, you're just an awful thing.
But we all have that in common. I think that's
you have to, if you want to get better.
Comedians are all self-deprecating.
Yeah.
A lot of us procrastinate. We're all
the biggest
class clown,
the worst
dickheads. But there's a lot of there's some certain traits that everyone kind of carries in this industry.
Yeah.
And that it kind of gives people like us a home, which is the most amazing thing. James Patrick said something on the last podcast about community. He said he's never felt such a sense of community until he did comedy, and I feel the same way. I've made more friends in the last 8 months than I have in my whole entire life.
Yeah,
7 months. It's unbelievable.
It's an awesome community until you like leave this community to go hang out with like actual human beings and professionals, and you're just like, oh, do I have a Chase Sapphire card? Yeah. I'm like, because usually it's like, hey, do you have a lighter? And these guys are like, hey, so do you have a timeshare? I'm like, fuck, I forgot that I'm not hanging out with these scumbags from comic show. I'm actually hanging out with like professionals right now. I'm like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, blah blah blah. So it's like, but yeah, I
had that the other day.
It's so funny.
I went to I won't say who it is, but it was a party, non-comic party.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I walked out. I was like,
it's weird, right?
That was so boring.
But
it was good.
Dude,
it was good.
It is good.
Lovely people, but I was like,
dude, it's so important to also remember that we also have to like mingle with that crowd too, because that's how we can see how people actually move. And
you're very right.
You can't just stick with that one thing, because it's like, imagine just eating pizza.
Because they're the people we're performing in front of.
Exactly, dog. Exactly. And it's like sometimes like I'll just be saying, I'll try running little bits just at conversation with like these my like whatever my wife's friends, and they're just like, oh my god, that's so funny. Do you do that on stage? I'm like, no, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. And I'm like, the fact that you think that's funny, it's like great.
Yeah. And if you can get if you can get a laugh in front of a couple of people socially, you're like, well, I'm onto something.
That is you have to write that down. Do you do that? Do you like when you get a laugh?
All the time. Even in public, I'm like, excuse me, I got to write this down. Even if
immediately,
all the time.
Do you ever like just wake up sometimes just like, I think I got something. I think I got a bit.
I dream about bits.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I like that. But in my head, I'm like, but why doesn't that reflect on stage?
But so many times I think about bits. This is probably my biggest annoyance. And I guess everyone feels like this. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll write a bit down, and at the time I'll think it's funny. And then when I sit down in front of the laptop the next day, I have no idea what I found funny about that the day before. It was like, where is this going? What even is this? Is rubbish. This is like like a foreskin joke. Like it's crap. Not necessarily crap. I'm sure you got a great foreskin joke.
No, but I know exactly. It's like it's like that post nut clarity you get.
Yeah.
It's like where did it go?
Where was it?
It was just
where
there.
was the spice?
It was just there. Did you ever do it? Like, did you ever think of something? It's right there. It's like, what happened? I had it right there. And like, if you get it on tape or you record it, you're like, there it is. And then you try to do it again. You're like, it never comes back. Like that spice again. You're like, what the fuck? Because it's so fresh.
You have to capture it. You have to like bottle it and like, and then screw that lid on.
You gotta vacuum seal that shit and freeze it and bring it back. It's so hard because it's like that's also another reason why actors probably do so good at this, because they can act it out again. That's where we have to like not necessarily like what I mean by act, like you're doing an act out, but it's also like, okay, like you're doing your joke, but like you're doing it that same way every single time, no matter how you feel, if you're having a shitty day or a good day. I reckon that's what I'm trying to work on.
Stand-up comedy, once you get to a professional level where you're a performer, and you're doing it professionally 3, 4, 5 times a night, it almost then becomes acting. Because you're just reciting the same bit, although you're telling a joke, but it is an act, isn't it? But that's a beautiful thing about it.
It is a beautiful
and
thing. I love it.
I think in a way, what I love about shows, I find, as I was going back to what we were saying about mics, how I find mics more stressful.
Yeah.
I think because a lot of the time with mics, I'm not comfortable with my material. So there's a discomfort there. But with shows, generally speaking, I'm comfortable with my material, or 80% of the material. Yeah. So there's a lot of comfortability in that. And I can, instead of thinking about or worrying about the bit, I can just be in the bit. And that's where it's fun. That's when it becomes really fun, because I'm aware of the things around me, and I'm looking at the people laughing, and I can feel all their attention is on me.
You can. It's like you can feel their eyes on your skin.
Yeah,
it's the weirdest feeling.
It is.
It's like, fuck, I'm okay here.
And that's why I've said this as well before. Like it doesn't matter if it's 5 people show or 7 people show or 20 people show, like, or 30 or whatever. Even if 5 people show, if they're paying attention and they're just looking at you, and you know you've got their attention, it's great,
dude. If you can do good for like a crowd of 6 people that were barked into say marks, if you could do good with that, you got something going. Yeah, you got something going.
There's something really beautiful about that club. I love what they're building there. I
love it.
Danny's coming on in a few weeks.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't wait.
I love it. I mean, I love that they're Colombian too, because it's like I'm Colombian, so it's phenomenal to see Latinos doing.
They're giving a lot of Latinos hang out there. Yeah, it's a very diverse club. But what they're doing with how they giving guys. They're giving like amateur comics opportunities to get on shows. We're working for it when we're barking, but what they're building there is amazing. I often think so cool. I would like to do something one day. Would you consider 100%. Doing a club, your own club?
You know, I love comedy so much that yes, I would.
Yeah.
Like right now, I love it so much, but it's also like I can totally see myself doing that. Like that's why I want to start producing shows and stuff. Just like start with that and kind of make my way from there, and just 1,000%.
I've been thinking about producing shows.
I think that like this is another example of like what you're doing. Like, you know, like you said, you want to open up a club. Look at what you're doing now. You're putting fucking comics on this platform for them to kind of tell the story, and people that do watch this you have fans from all over, and they're just like, oh look, I'm gonna go see this guy Jolan Turner or this person or that person, and you never know. But I would love to one day, but I think right now it's mainly I just want to make sure that I can keep fucking trying to write jokes.
Yeah,
Get good at that before anything else.
that's why I haven't gone into producing a show yet or done anything else. I'm just, obviously it's too early, but I also think, like I was saying to Mel the other day, she's like, well, why don't you produce your own show? I was like,
You should.
I don't want to do it just yet because I just want to keep, it's another thing that takes my energy away from the writing and from performing, but I could probably quite easily do a show once a month.
I think you should.
Okay.
I'm co-producing a show next month with
You want to do one together?
with Nibras Ahmed. Let me know, dude.
You're co-producing with Nibras?
With Nibras.
Nice. I love Nibras.
We're doing.
He's fucking funny, man.
He's so wild. That motherfucker.
so
he's
funny.
a fucking professor.
I know.
That's,
I was just about to
what
say,
the fuck?
This guy.
I'm pretty.
I asked him to come on the podcast,
Dude,
and he's like, "Nah, I can't."
He's
because he's
scared.
like, "I'm so punched down,
Yeah.
and I can't let any of my students see that."
He gets so nervous, and it's so funny. But
I saw him at Black Cat the other day.
I love that. I love that he says that because I'm like, oh
Yeah. He doesn't look like he gets nervous when he's up there. He's got some fucking big dick energy, that dude.
dude.
He's like he's got that.
Dude, his jokes. I would love to see like just like a joke for joke, like him and like a James Patrick down the line, like just because James Patrick, he's got those fucking punchy. Oh my.
Yeah.
But no, Nibras is dope. We're co-producing a show next month. Actually, the same day where you have your show on February 5th. Yeah, I know you have that show.
Yeah.
But we're co-producing a show down at the Harry Lemon, and which is right across the street from East Point.
Nice.
And
Oh yeah, you were telling me about this. Is this? Are you doing the electric? You're doing that?
so we're doing shock therapy.
We're gonna wrap this up. So give me all your
Yeah, dude. Follow me on Instagram.
but tell me about the show.
Okay.
And then
So we're co-producing a show next month, February 5th, Wednesday, 8 p.m. at the Harry Lemon down at an Avenue B, so I guess Alphabet City, the East Village, and it's called Shock Therapy Comedy.
Wow.
So the idea is each comic gets 10 minutes to do their material, and as they're doing their material, they have electrical stim pads attached to whatever body part they want. And as they're doing their material, I slowly start cranking up the electrical stim, and their muscles start contracting, and nothing better than getting heckled by electricity, right?
That's good.
It's pretty much your body heckling you, so you can just, so for 10 minutes.
So if they do bad, you turn it up.
Whether they do bad or good.
So slowly it's just going to go. Oh my God.
And then I was thinking
That's going to be so funny for the audience.
Yeah, I know. We're hoping it works out because we want to continue doing it. I want to fucking have you on there if you're cool with getting fucking
Love to.
shocked.
Please, man.
But I was telling Nibras, I think we should definitely try to have it where like in the 10 minutes they have to test out one new joke, and if it bombs, we crank that bitch up.
Yeah. I reckon their final joke should be their closer. When they get to light, it should be a new joke.
I can't wait, dude. And everyone is super interested about it because they're like, what exactly you can do? I was like, you just got to come and watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
How many people can you fit in the room?
We're hoping to get at least minimum of like 20 people in there, but we can definitely fill that bitch out. We want to start off small first.
Yeah.
And then if it gets bigger, then
I agree. Grow it small because it's easy to make a small room feel like a big room if you got 20 people in there.
I can't fucking wait, dude.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped. And I just want to the thing is I love comedy so much that when I go out to these like just to watch shows that these comics produce, like I actually go out to watch, and I have a list on my phone of all the comics that I want to produce on. But if I'm ever producing a show, I want to put them on shows.
Yeah.
I got them. I got you. Don't worry about it. If I fuck with you, you're gonna be on the show. Don't worry.
Got it.
But you should definitely produce a show, dude. I think it'd be a blast. And you give yourself more time.
I was thinking about doing a show for people that have been on the podcast.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I was thinking about doing like inviting everyone to come on the podcast, but then maybe doing some sort of like bucket pool for the guys that have been on.
I think it's dope.
I think that'd be pretty fun.
I think you'll realize once you start producing your own show with this on top of the other stuff you're doing, you're going to be unstoppable. Unstoppable, bro.
Thank you, man. What's your Instagram?
Follow me on Instagram, Pico de Gallo 13, PIKODEGALLO 13. That is my Instagram. And yeah, dude, it's going to be fun. I put all my shows on there. I'm going to be going on the road next month. I'm going down to Virginia and North Carolina to do 25, 30-minute sets. So I'm pumped out about that.
Beautiful.
I don't even know if I have that much time, but we'll see what happens.
You're great.
And yeah, dude, come out, come out to the fucking Harry Lemon, February 5th, Wednesday. Let's get it going, boys. And thank you very much, Cam, for having me. This is fucking very dope.
Been a pleasure. Guys, this one is one to look out for. He's a fucking murderer. So looking forward to seeing how you track. I'm going to get you on another few months, man. We're going to do this very regularly.
Dude. For sure, dude. We should do a shirtless next time.
Let's fucking do it. See you later, dudes.
Peace.
Hey, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Going After It with Cam Bird. Produced by Cam Bird. Co-produced by Ryan Rizzuti and Jacqueline Laurie Edwards. Music by Brian Rigby. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. And remember to hit that notification bell. And if you can, get after it.